Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12. News at 12.
In the local scene, the Albay Public Safety and Emergency Management Office continues to strengthen the province's disaster preparedness and response capabilities through the use of emerging technologies, with personnel participating in the drone pilot training course conducted by Pixelate Academy. The initiative, led by APSEMO head Oscar Robert Cristobal, forms part of the office's continuing efforts to enhance the technical skills of disaster responders and improve the use of unmanned aerial vehicles in disaster risk reduction and management operations. The training equipped participants with essential knowledge and practical skills in drone operations, including compliance with the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines regulations, AUV safety protocols, flight techniques, maintenance and troubleshooting, and hands-on flight exercises. By integrating drone technology into disaster management operations, APSEMO aims to strengthen its capacity for risk assessment, hazard mapping, damage assessment, search and rescue support, and real-time monitoring during emergencies. The enhanced capability is expected to support faster and more accurate disaster response, providing critical information that can guide decision-making before, during, and after emergencies. As part of the program, APSEMO recognized mapping staff member John Ostero Opinaria for successfully completing the 5-day drone pilot training course, further expanding the province's pool of trained personnel equipped to support science-based and technology-driven disaster management initiatives. The activity reflects APSEMO's commitment to continuously improving disaster preparedness and building a more resilient Albay through innovation, capacity development, and evidence-based emergency response strategies. In other story, the provincial government of Albay continues to enhance Linyon Hill with the arrival of new lighting equipment aimed at improving one of the province's most visited tourism destinations. Albay Governor Noel E. Rizal announced the development during his message at the flag-raising ceremony held on August 3 at the Albay Capitol Grounds in Legazpi City. The installation of additional lighting forms part of the ongoing improvement efforts designed to make Linyon Hill more accessible, welcoming, and enjoyable for residents and visitors, particularly during evening hours. Governor Noel Rizal also encouraged the public to support the continued development of the site by helping maintain cleanliness, practicing proper waste disposal, and taking part in preserving the area's natural environment. The enhancements project reflects the provincial government's commitment to improving tourism infrastructure while ensuring that public spaces remain safe, attractive, and environmentally sustainable. Through continued investments and community participation, Linyon Hill is being further developed as a premier destination that showcases Albay's scenic landscapes, promotes outdoor recreation, and strengthens the province's tourism appeal. In other news, the provincial government of Albay continued its efforts to advance sustainable land development as the Provincial Land Use Committee, led by the Provincial Planning and Development Office, convened to review the comprehensive land use plans and zoning ordinances of 4 municipalities. The meeting gathered PLUC members from various provincial offices and government agencies, together with representatives from the local governments of Kinubatan, Libon, Kamalig, and Tuwi. As part of the review process, Ginobatan presented its comprehensive land use plan and zoning ordinance for 2021 to 2031. Libon presented its proposed CLUP and zoning ordinance for 2026 to 2037. Kamalig presented its CLUP and zoning ordinance for 2020 to 2032, while Tui presented its proposed CLUP and zoning ordinance for 2026 to 2034. Following the deliberations, the committee conditionally approved the plans of Ginobatan, Libon, and Kamalig, subject to minor revisions and further coordination with concerned government agencies. The proposal of Tui remains under deliberation as the municipality continues to refine its land use planning documents. The review process forms part of the province's continuing efforts to ensure that local land use plans are aligned with sustainable development principles, environmental protection measures, disaster resilience strategies, and long-term growth objectives. The meeting was presided over by Engineer Eduardo R. Matias Jr., ENP, officer in charge of the Provincial Planning and Development Office, with Albay Governor Noel E. Rosal in attendance to express his support for a strengthened land use planning initiative across the province. The activity underscores the provincial government of Albay's commitment to promoting responsible land development and supporting local government units in implementing strategic plans that foster sustainable, resilient, and well-managed communities. In the national scene, Senator Rafi Tulfo raised concerns over what he described as a growing pattern of illegal wastewater discharge and improper septic waste disposal across the country, citing recent environmental incidents in Laguna and Pampanga. Tulfo said incidents highlight possible gaps in the enforcement of the Philippine Clean Water Act of 2004 and the regulation of septage collection, treatment, transport, and disposal for or by local government units, water districts, and private operators. The senator cited the Laguna Lake Development Authority's investigation into alleged unauthorized wastewater discharge linked to a water infrastructure project following reports of a fish kill, foul odor, and adverse effects on nearby communities and fisherfolk. He also pointed to the discovery of radioactive materials, contaminated production equipment, industrial dust, slag, and wastewater inside a steel plant in Magalang, Pampanga, prompting the Department of Environment and Natural Resources to shut down the facility. Tulfo said Metro Manila alone produces about 2,000 cubic meters of spent solvents, 22,000 tons of heavy metals and other hazardous wastes, and 25 million cubic meters of acid and alkaline liquid wastes that are improperly disposed of each year. Despite the volume of waste generated, only about 5% of the population is connected to sewerage networks and treatment facilities, covering around 440,000 households. To address the issue, Tulfo filed Senate Resolution Number 541, directing the Senate Committee on Environment and Natural Resources and Climate Change to investigate illegal wastewater discharge and improper septage disposal nationwide. The proposed inquiry will assess whether existing enforcement and monitoring systems are sufficient and identify measures to strengthen the Clean Water Act and protect public health and the environment. In other story, most parts of the country will experience rains due to Tropical Depression Luis and the southwest monsoon or habagat, the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, PAG-ASA, said Monday. Pag-asa said Luis maintained its strength, packing maximum sustained winds of 55 kilometers per hour near the center and gusts of up to 70 kilometers per hour. As of 4 a.m., the weather disturbance was located 130 kilometers east-southeast of Casiguran, Aurora, and was almost stationary. Strong winds are expected to areas under tropical cyclone wind signal number 1, including parts of Cagayan, Isabela, Quirino, Apayao, Kalinga, Mountain Province, Ifugao, Aurora, the Polillo Islands, and northern Camarines Norte. The Habagat and the cyclone's periphery are also expected to bring strong to gale force gusts over parts of the Visayas, Lanao del Norte, Misamis Occidental, Camiguin, Surigao del Norte, Dinagat Islands, Sarangani, Davao Occidental, Davao Oriental, and most parts of Luzon. Moderate to rough seas are expected along several coastal areas, including the eastern seaboards of Isabela and Davao Oriental, the northeastern seaboards of Aurora, Batanes, and Babuyan Islands, and other exposed coastal areas in northern and eastern Luzon, the Visayas, and Mindanao. Pag-asa advised mariners operating motor bangkas and similarly sized vessels to take necessary precautions before venturing into the sea. Pag-asa said Luis may landfall or pass close to northern Luzon early Tuesday, while cyclone is forecast to weaken into a remnant low by Wednesday. In other news, Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. clarified that his call for government officials who refuse to uphold the Philippines' position on the West Philippine Sea to resign is based on their legal obligations, not their personal or political beliefs. In a statement, Teodoro said public officials cannot be asked to step down just because of a belief, stressing that his earlier remarks were based on existing Philippine laws and policies governing the West Philippine Sea. Teodoro cited Administrative Order No. 29, Series of 2012, which designated the maritime areas on the western side of the Philippine archipelago as the West Philippine Sea, saying the order forms part of the law of the land. He said all public officials, particularly those elected into office, are sworn to uphold the Constitution and laws of the country. Teodoro added that officials who disagree with the country's legal position may seek recourse through the courts but cannot simply disregard existing laws while remaining in office. He said officials who believe that a law is unconstitutional should challenge it in court, but until such a ruling is issued, they are required to uphold the law. Teodoro also cited the Philippines' recent submission to the United Nations supporting its extended continental shelf claim, including water surrounding Bajo de Masinloc, saying the move further reinforces the country's legal position in the West Philippine Sea. He said areas including Panatag Shoal fall within the West Philippine Sea under Administrative Order No. 29 and questioned whether public officials who oppose the country's maritime claims are fulfilling their sworn duties. Teodoro warned the public officials who oppose the country's maritime claims should make their positions clear, saying their actions will be remembered by future generations and by Filipinos affected by the dispute. The clarification came days after Teodoro said government officials who sided with China on the West Philippine Sea issues should either uphold the country's position, challenge it before the Supreme Court if they believe it was unconstitutional, or resign from office. His remarks followed renewed tensions in the West Philippine Sea, including recent confrontations near Ayungin Shoal, as the Marcos administration continues efforts to assert the country's sovereign rights through diplomacy, international law, and the 2016 Arbitral Award. And in the news outside the country, visitors have formed long lines daily at a Tokyo shop promoting specialty products from Kumamoto Prefecture as people show support for the southwestern Japan prefecture hit by a powerful earthquake last Tuesday. The visitors aim to help communities affected by the magnitude 7.1 earthquake by purchasing Kumamoto products and making donations. According to the Kumamoto Prefecture or Prefectural Government's Tokyo office, sales at the Ginza Kumamoto-kan shop on Wednesday were more than twice as high as those recorded during a holiday in the peak season. Shop officials said traditional Kumamoto products including ikinari dango, a sweet potato and sweet bean paste confectionery, and karashi renkan, or lotus roots stuffed with mustard, have been selling well. A 56-year-old woman from Urayasu, Chibu Prefecture said she purchased products to support the earthquake victims, including a relative whose house was damaged in Hikawa, Kumamoto. She also expressed interest in buying whistles featuring Kumamon, Kumamoto's official mascot, to distribute to her family for use during future emergencies. A 64-year-old man from Tokyo's Itabashi ward, who visited Kumamoto City on a business trip in July, also bought sweets to show his support for those affected by the disaster. A total of about 2 million yen was raised through a donation box at the shop on Wednesday and Thursday. Mitsuo Matsuka, a senior official of the Tokyo office, said warm support from visitors has given encouragement to the people of Kumamoto and called for continued support and cooperation. In other story, at least 5 people were killed in Ukrainian drone strikes across Russia, while a warehouse belonging to e-commerce giant Wildberries was also hit and set on fire, according to Russian officials. The attacks came amid an intensifying aerial campaign by Kiev targeting Russian infrastructure and facilities linked to the country's war effort. Russian air defenses reportedly shot down 635 Ukrainian drones overnight, including over occupied Crimea and the Black Azov Sea, according to Russia's defense ministry. Ukraine's Air Force said Russia launched 133 drones at Ukraine, with 24 hitting targets. In the Samara region, Ukrainian drones struck a Wildberries warehouse about 800 kilometers from the Russian-Ukrainian border, causing a fire, but no reported casualties, local authorities said. The latest strike was part of a wider campaign against Wildberries facilities, with more than a dozen of the retailer's depots reportedly targeted in less than 2 weeks. 2 people were also killed when a Ukrainian drone struck a residential building in Russia's Saratov region, according to the local governor. Separately, Russian attacks on the Ukrainian cities of Zaporizhia and Kharkiv killed at least 2 people, local officials said. And finally, in the news outside the country, with reference to the Philippines, Steffi Marita Ludo and Lorraine Halyorina captured their second straight girls doubles title after defeating Koreans Lee Yurin and Park Zijin 6-3, 6-2 in the final of the Oscar J. Hilado J60 World Tennis Championship Week 2 at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center in Manila. The Filipino pair also won the first leg last week after beating Xin Huang of Chinese Taipei and Han Frida Zhu of Hong Kong. Lee, however, regained the upper hand in the girls' singles, defeating Aludo 6-3, 6-1 to claim her second singles title in the tournament, which offers world tennis points. Lee also beat Aludo in the first leg last week, posting 6-3, 6-0 victory. In the boys division, China's number 2, Si Huang Jian defeated Indian number 4 seed Yashwin Dahia 6-3 over 6-0 to win the singles title. Second seeds Weibo Huang and Bing Huan Chai of China Taipei claimed the boys' doubles crown after beating Huang and Dahia 3-6, 6-2, 10-6. The timeless pair also won the first leg after defeating local duo Jan Kendrick Bono and Stephen Yu Fuertes 5-7, 7-5, 10-5. Now in its 18th edition, the annual tournament has previously crowned champions including Alexandra Yala, Francis Casey Alcantara, John Brian Otico, Arthur Craig Pantino, Kim Iglupaz, and Daniel Mattis. That's the news at 12, August 4, 2026. We'll be back tomorrow for more news updates. Thanks to our news writers, LJ Lorejo and Ian Buitre. And on the technical side, Chad Bobis, and our Provincial Information Officer OIC, Marty Gonzalez. And under the supervision of our Governor, Noel Irusal, I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing. Albay in my heart.